bit. And these people, by the way, I have either talked to almost daily or coffee chats or WhatsApp or Zoom. These are the people that I don't just talk to them via LinkedIn. I literally talk to them outside of LinkedIn. Samantha is an amazing sister, and if you don't know, I'm an only child. I have sisters everywhere. If you want to volunteer to be my brother and sister, please do raise your hands up. Okay. But she's an amazing sister because she supports me outside and inside LinkedIn. And if you don't know, she's a great connector. She's not even selling anything, she's just here to support her community. Okay. And I love that. There is no hidden agenda, always transparent. Nicole, I mean, hello, we have a 50 inspirational project. If you have not looked at what it is all about, it is creating impact. And I'm hoping I can ask Donald to be in this journey today. He probably doesn't know it yet, but he's in for a ride. And this is what we do. We make impact so that our community stays positive. But Nicole has an amazing story, and we are working on this project until about the end of July, starting today or starting yesterday. Sia, what can I say? She's my sister from another mother for sure, right? She is definitely brilliant, and she helps you if you are in LinkedIn and you want thinking of doing podcasting and things like that. And you are, I believe she doesn't do gigpreneurs or entrepreneurs. She'll give you hints here and there, but she definitely is for organizations and big companies, intermediate companies. She can help you get your social media elevated for sure. Stephanie D'Alfonso. I love her. I have her book. I'm reading it, Stephanie. I'm not done though. I know it's a thin book, but I have so much books I'm reading. But I wanted to give her a shout out because she's an amazing human, very giving heart. FYI, these people are not paying me. They're not nothing. I'm giving it out there because I want you guys to pay attention to the people in my community who's always leveling up. Okay. Christine Jones, another sister from another mother, 30 years of K to 12 teaching and still teaching today. Okay, she has a book coming up that will help and support teachers in the world. She's an amazing human being besides being a teacher. That's our superpower, right? Creating and molding little minds. That's what we do. And Michelle, she's been my student since 2015, and I was teaching a master's class since 2015. She was my student. She's still here today. I love seeing her journey moving from New York to Arizona. I love her. She's always giving as well and leveling up her community. Christian is a brand new person that I know. And I will show you the project that we just did. Amazing. If you are business out there and you are a solopreneur and you actually want to elevate your game through 2D animation, I'll show you an example. Amazing human. He showed up. I showed up for him. I hired him, and here we are today. My brother from Nigeria. Yesterday, we just had a coffee chat. Best integrity ever. Okay. And he also has a business. I want to highlight him because he has 4 kids, and I, I met his son last night, and he's going to school. So let's support the brother. Okay. Paul, my brother from another mother again. And Paul is in Donald's show, and Paul is making an impact. Young man, but let me tell you, I think he's like 50 inside. His soul is definitely 50 inside, or maybe 70. I don't know, 90. I'm just getting that numbers out there. Giving, very giving. Support him. He has a show after mine. Peter Quayle is going to be on my show tomorrow. An amazing business leader if you want to know and learn to elevate and level up yourself on leadership skills. And of course, Kirsten Back, we're going to be doing some type of collaboration on content writing, creating visibility and value in your LinkedIn profile, but beyond your LinkedIn. Okay. Deborah is my energy sister. Like, she just gives me energy and I love it. Same thing as Lana Ray. Janice, I mean, sister there who's an inventor of Tossie. If you haven't had Tossie, you got to buy it because I snore, and I don't snore when I have that right there pillow. Okay. And Mike, can't forget Mike, right? Asher Brenner. We have a show with Donald as well today at 4 p.m. PST and 7 p.m. EST. Sister Raquel has her corner show on Saturday that Nicole and I took over. Okay. But first, I want to show you, hold on one second here. This is Christian's unveiling project with Are you a curious student, eager to learn new skills and make your mark in the world? Or are you a professional seeking to advance your career and unlock your full potential? You need to be equipped with effective soft skills like communication, problem solving, teamwork, and more. The Level Up Academy by Doc Leland bridges the gap between education and employment through transferable skills training. Get the soft skills you need to be more effective at work. I mean, hello, that is so awesome, right? Oh, and he talks on this instead of me, and it's on my YouTube. Okay, so you gotta check him out. And I think this is Christian's LinkedIn if you guys wanted to see. And this is Donald Cohen's LinkedIn, which I'm gonna leave there because without further ado, are you guys ready? Are you ready? Are you sure you're ready? Hi, Donald. How are you?
I am so thrilled to be here and be with you again. I know we had you on my show Saturday, and I know Mike's been on my show, and it just happens today. I'm on your show, and then we're on Mike's show later today. So we got 72 hours of a lot of LinkedIn Live, but really a lot of fun. So I'm so happy to be here.
I know. I'm so happy that you're here today. I am very thrilled to get to know you, to get to know other people, because when you're doing your show, you're so busy of elevating others that people really don't know who you are. Who is Donald Cohen, right? But yeah, Mike is here. Yay. Christian, of course. Morning. Dean, what's up, brother? And Paul. I mean, come on, right? He's a supporting, like always, everywhere. I love it. Windy, thank you. I watch your TikTok, by the way. Pretty funny. I do watch your TikTok. India, all right. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. This got to be Marikit right here. While I'm actually showing all of these people that are here, Victoria, welcome. I wanted to ask, think back 20 years of your life right now, kind of like sum it up in like 5, 6 minutes. Who is Donald Cohen and how did you get here today?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Um, well, basically, I grew up in Detroit um, and got married, moved to Colorado, set up a real small business with a car loan, and it became a very significant business. Me and my wife worked from the beginning for 8 years together until we had our family. And then that transition, and that turned out to be, we generated over $250 million in sales in just that business. And then late 90s, we transitioned to online and marketplaces and generated another 250 million in sales. And we're actually one of only 6 companies invited to Walmart.com when they launched their marketplace. So that was phenomenal. Retired after 37 years, only had one job in my life. When I was 15, I worked in a grocery store. And I left at the top of the list of the people who were packing and going out and getting buggies back. And from then, I retired about 6, 7 years ago. Have a beautiful family. Just celebrated my 45th wedding anniversary, and got some great kids and grandkids. So about 3.5 years ago, I still felt I was at the top of my game. And then I discovered LinkedIn, and I said, well, to stay relevant and really create an opportunity to share what I've learned at a time in my life where I'm comfortable sharing and helping and mentoring and supporting. And then I haven't missed a post in 3 years, so 1,000 days, every day posting. And then 10 months ago, I decided to go 7 days a week, every day on LinkedIn Live. And now I got like 400 of them already. And, I just found that what was so cool about it is I thought, hey, I'll just teach my strategies or best practices. And, after a week and a half of doing that, it was like anxiety, PTSD, depression. That's all people were really talking about. And really, until people feel right, until people can bring up their mindset, heighten their attitude, and do it peer to peer, because what I discovered about LinkedIn, about posting every day, is it's a mob out there. Everybody's throwing stuff against a wall, and the louder, the meaner people are, the more attention they get, but it also intimidates the good people, the people who want to be there for the right intentions. And by generating a program that is for the people and by the people, the only thing that matters is the audience. And I love how you recognize people, because it's important when you show up and you take an hour out of your day and you take the initiative to comment and no one shows you, and everybody is equal as a person, and definitely should be equal until you get a chance to understand and know them. And the nice thing about these shows and my shows and all these people's shows, you can take a bite every day, right? You can learn a little bit. You can meet a little bit. You can take your time, and if you have time, it's less pressure. And the other thing is, if you've ever been on a stage and you've never felt people giving you standing ovations every time you show up, your whole viewpoint changes based on other people's projection of your reflection. Some people have been performing with an audience that doesn't appreciate them, doesn't care about them, and would rather have somebody else. And instead of, there's a saying, it's easier to give birth than raise the dead, right? And too many people are going back and trying to get something that never was to do something that never will, when right in front of them, they can be the creator, they can be the chooser. Too many people are waiting for something that may not happen or hasn't happened, right? Kelly's here, she's the best. So yeah, that was my 3-4 minutes. And now what I'm seeing is, when you do things with consensus, when you respect people, when you go out of your way every time to earn their respect, everybody who comments, I have a Zoom call with, right? Even if they just show up and they don't do anything more than that, I want to know who they are, why they chose to spend an hour of their time, and what can we do to help them, right? And
I love that.
Models it. What's your thoughts?
I love it. Kelly, I haven't had a chance to get to know her or have a coffee chat. The people that I'm highlighting, actually, I have so many, and my list would just go on. So I'm going to continue that tomorrow, people. If you're not on my list, I will continue that. I ran out of time. But I also love that my community is growing, and my mission to level up is slowly having that movement. And I told him, I'm like, it's really funny. When my kids were like, I don't know, 2 months old, my youngest, I created a wiki space with 100,000 people member. I had 100,000 member in my wiki, and it was a video game. Okay, like a video game. And I was really having fun with my community, but I had sergeants on each of the things, and I'm like, why couldn't I have that here on LinkedIn, where I have everyone here trying to find something different about their life? Like, I've seen and meet people where they just need to get a chance and they just don't know how. And they got told to do this and they do it wrong, or they don't even know they're doing it wrong. They just keep doing it and said, okay, out of this 100, I'm going to get 2. But there's a different way of doing it. And shows like yours and mine really brings about that difference, is learning different ways of other people that's doing it. So my next question to you is, what is social media influence and why is it important? Like, why do you do 7 days a week? Why is it important to you?
Well, I have a sense of urgency with everything I do. And the more I do, the faster I learn. And I know that I need to get better. And I know the beauty of this is just to your point, it is getting better. It is getting bigger. But here's what happens when your audience, and I don't even look at it like an audience, we're just in a circle together. I would rather be one of 50 than one on the stage with 49 waiting for me to come through. Because it's really, how do you duplicate, sustain what you're doing that isn't people dependent, but now people can backfill where you are and do what you do. And here's the most important thing, I think, or one of the most important things people can take into consideration is, why do you post? Why do you share? And hopefully it's because you've got something of value maybe most people don't know. But here's the rub. When you stop at you limit them.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is I know Dr. Constance. I would rather share what she does and who she is than come up with a rhymey post tomorrow, because that would be the best service I could provide. If it's good for me, it's good for people like me. And if I'm a scout, or I'm doing research and development, or I'm the first one looking over the cliff, right? What are you bringing back, right? That I think is the key. And that's what you should be posting, is what's your journey, what's your experience, what are you feeling? People want to get to know you, not a thought of you, not a creation. And the sooner you get out there with who you are, you can focus on what you can do with who you are instead of becoming more of who you're not, So, I think getting back to what the influence is it's what your projection is, your influence, and if you look at it, like, if you want to show up as the best you possible, and that's all people should see, is what's your intention? People want to know, okay, what are you here for? What's your reason for being? What do you have to show, okay, that's going to be of interest to me? And why would I be interested in doing something with you? And that's hard to explain in a interview. But if you do an hour show, and I've gotten to meet people just from A to Z, and you know what? As long as everybody stays humble and stays modest and respects everybody for being somebody, and I think that's another thing you're doing, Constance, and I'm doing, is you're taking people who used to be somebody or wanted to be somebody and decided at a point they were a nobody because they couldn't be seen, they couldn't be heard, they couldn't be touched. And now when people can come out of the shadows and be everything and more, but more importantly, now show up with an audience that helped them on the stage, that introduced them to make it easy, how much better can that be? And that's social influence at its best.
I know. I love it. I'm just thinking about that. Like, before, in order for you to be on shows, right, you have to pay a lot of money, like a lot of money to get into shows. And you have to be somebody like in Hollywood. Or you have to pay so much in the millions. When I did for Geico, we had some marketing thing, and it was like 5 million to be on a billboard and in like shows. I'm like, where, what? You know what I mean? Like, but having us, I think, people who really care about people and elevating our community and saying, hey, here's Donald Cohen. This is what he does. And I love meeting new people. My belly fire just like, oh my gosh, how amazing is Donald? Like, he's doing 7 days. I'm thinking, I don't think I could do it. Like, there's no way that I could do it. I'm glad you do what you do. I'm like, 2 days is good enough. 3 days actually with the audio. But some of the days that I do those is I support people in my community because they also want to elevate their community, right? And so it's just this ripple effect. And I think that we attract people who are doing the same thing as us because of what we want our community to be. It's like a full circle, right? To me, social media influence is showing up every day. And if you are faking it, it will show. It will show. Not today, not tomorrow, but it will show. And I think it's important to have an influence in terms of your own voice, whatever that means to you, and to level up your game every day, whatever that means to you, and be a servant leader. A leader. I think we talked about this on reciprocity in your show and authenticity. And those are two important, I think, aspects of making sure that when people know who you are, do you even know who you are? That's another question. Because a lot of people are like, I'm this. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? right? What does that mean to be this and this? What does that mean, right? So for me, my next question to you is, what are the key steps to building a personal brand on social media? Because some of us are doing it here just because we need another job.
Well, I think that's an excellent question. And I think the key to it is, again, being yourself, being consistent, doing it for others. Because the reason I do it 7 days a week is because people need it 7 days a week. The reason I do it 11 a.m. every day is people know exactly where to go every day if they need support. If they, I challenge almost anyone to come on this show as the audience or on the show or my show and not feel better an hour later, not feel like you're thinking about different things than you were when you started. Some people need an island in the sun to be with other people and just to be with other people. And Brett's here. Brett was my guest on the show today. He's an outstanding gentleman. And that's gentlemen like Brett or ladies like Constance. You couldn't get access and afford if you wanted to go one-on-one, right? There's not even a program for it. So let alone a price. But when you get open access on around the clock, and that's why I'm advocating opening up all the doors to all the doors. Not only build your community, but build communities with communities. Why not have a summer pass and say, here's the 12 shows that are taking place today? TV stations, you don't pick one or one show. And the more you do, the more you get, the more you show up for, because this is entertaining. This is educational and it's inspiring. And if you get one or all three at once, all you have to do to get the answer, compare what you would have done in this hour if you didn't do this. And what could you have done that you can't do right after this? Because on today's show, what I thought was interesting, I said, take your calendar and look at it. If there's an empty spot, fill it in. I'm going to exercise this hour. I'm going to celebrate Thursday at 3:30. I mean, have a full schedule, and what you don't have for others, fill in for you, and then you're busy. And then you know what you're doing. Hey, you can always upgrade if something comes in. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question in some way or another.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight, I love Christian. Britt actually was in my show since last year. Britt and I know, and we joke around. I actually have with Joseph and Zava here. He's actually in India as well. Those are my brothers from another mother. And we talk about leadership a lot because, he's been in 30 countries and 30 years of leadership. Sava here is in India. He's passionate about creating opportunities. He was actually writing for LinkedIn. Joseph is always motivating and inspiring, even me on days where I just don't want to do nothing. And I just oh, Joseph, I got to go look at Joseph. Now it's I got to go look at Donald. Who is going to his show today? But this right here is fullness of my heart, because Christian really tries. There's a lot of Christians out there that are trying their best to get jobs, and COVID did a number on them, and they're an entrepreneur and gigpreneur. And I think that it's our duty to help our brothers and sisters. They're not asking $1 million. And I'm glad that you said what you said about not being able to afford, because I told my students, when my husband is in here, he's $5,000 an hour. There's no way I could even afford him. So when he's in front of you, ask many questions. Ask all those questions that you want, because you only got an hour with him, and that's all we can afford right now. So this is nice. It's an open source, and Christian is listening, good listening skills. I can attest to that, because I was change this and change that and change this and change that, because I have a vision, and he created my vision for me. So thank you. Johanna, love your show. She's an artist, and she's my twinsy. July 11th is both of our birthday, by the way. So we are twinsies. We have the same birthday. I love it. Jody apparently is here. I don't see you, but I'm sure you're here. Oh, there you are. I made it. Yay. I want to highlight my people here. Victoria, I don't think I have met you yet. I'm new on LinkedIn, and I'm glad I'm here to learn from the pro. Thanks to Christian for sharing the link. Christian, thank you. Yes, Donald right here is definitely a pro. I'm just here to support all my team, right? And Mike, of course. My next question to you is, how can you identify your target audience and tailor your content to appeal to them? Or do you just say, just bring everybody in?
Well, that's a wonderful question. Why it's so fascinating is where you start is typically not where you end up. And you start with what your presumption is or whatever your best thoughts are until you actually apply something to action. And then the beauty of an audience that is peer to peer and has circles within the circle, that 4 or 5 people keep breaking off and conversing or doing things together, is that they come back and now share a better part of themselves. So if everybody's ratcheting up, then the group messaging starts to change, the needs start to change, and then your target audience starts to develop organically from the core that you attracted. If you start with 7 coaches, you're going to have a lot of coaching influence. But eventually, if financial people show up or whatever, you're going to start getting a blend. But here's where I see the value of having a free passport to everywhere is if what you're communicating is love, compassion, empathy, thoughtfulness, respect, civility, that plays everywhere well. And that's such a shortage. And people have to be unselfishly selfish where they give so much and don't even think something's coming back, right? But they keep getting it out there. They keep sampling. They keep modeling. I'm giving. I don't even need anything. I don't have. It's free because I want to do it because I know that when you can figure out this puzzle, and that's what it is, there's 900 million people you can leverage it against. And that's what people always kind of think of. They're thinking linear. I'm one person, need 3 clients. I'm one person, need 8 people to make a group go. There's 900 million. I guarantee you, if everybody on LinkedIn knew about this show that I'm on or my show, everybody, 1% would make 9 million people could show up tomorrow. And I guarantee you 1% is a small number. So the question is the time frame between where people know what's happening and when they start coming through, because we're in a viral network. When I look at a person on LinkedIn, they're a front door to maybe 10,000 connections, maybe 20, maybe 500 collectively. That's huge. And if they can do and share what's the most relevant, valuable thing you can do with your time, whatever it is, whoever it is, they're doing a favor for everybody else. So anyways, that's how I identify the target audience is actually who's going to work.
That's actually pretty good. So I always tell myself, like, I get DMs like, hey, I want to be on your show. I'm like, that's not how it works with me. And I will be honest with you. When I ask you to be on my show, I've already looked at your profile. I literally just stalk your profile. Okay. Because when I want to, my creation for my show is I have to be honest with myself. Like, what is my mission? And I go back to my mission, which is leveling up the world. And in order for me to multiply that is I have to put value on the conversation that I'm having with someone. And if I don't know who you are, how am I going to ask that question and be authentic on my answers and see where we're going to learn from, right? So usually I'm like, yeah, you can be on my show, but give me a month or 2. And they don't know what that means. That means I'm stalking your profile if you're watching this. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that. So I pay attention to your post because here's the thing. I'm gatekeeping. I am, because I work hard on having 70 nations and countries and growing, listening to your conversations. It's a disservice to my listeners to not provide value conversations that they too can use for their daily lives. Right. So I love what Paul, actually, let me do Olu. I'm home. It's clean, pure, and unconditionally loving energy that I always come for. I'm getting it here too, Dr. Constance Leland, as I do in the Hour of Empower. Too much noise and negativity out here in the world. We all need that place where we can think, we can drink of our fill of that kind of energy. And that's why I want that positive energy. We all are going through negative stuff every day. That's life, up and down. But why would you want to see a show? Like, why do you think you watch drama and entertainment? Because you want that head to do something else other than your problem. And that's what I want in this show, is something valuable that you can do today. Vision is better than division. Totally agree, Dennis. Jody Lamb. Oh, Jody's leaving. Bye, Jody. I love what Paul said. I found authenticity to be true differentiator. Be yourself and let the rest sort themselves. That's true. That's what I always say. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Like, I didn't know what Donald was doing, honestly. I didn't know anything about Donald. I don't know actually who introduced me to you. Or maybe it was like a tag or something. And I looked, I'm like, hey, Donald is doing podcasting as well. And I'm looking at your guests and seeing what it's all about, because I have to align myself with people that have the same vibe, right? Because I'm trying to create positivity. I can't have someone always negative Nelly over here. And so that the wheel is full. And I love that. I love that you said that. So Paul, thank you for that. You're right. Being authentic and be yourself and worry about what your mission is and what you're trying to do is going to come out. Hello, Raquel. How are you? Late but here. Hey, better late than never, right? For sure. And of course, Raquel's sending you love, Donald. My next question: how can you create engaging and shareable content that resonates with your audience every single day?
That's great. And here's what's come up. It was actually a gentleman, maybe you know him, Charles Caldwell, and he's in Hong Kong, and he has to get on at 11 p.m. to make 11 a.m. Eastern time show. And he was the one who was going to be a guest the next day. And he said, why don't we come up with a word? And I said, okay, come up with a word. Maybe it was collaboration or whatever it was. And it stuck, and it focused people on that word so we can always center back to it or relate to it somehow. And it's all semantics and whatever your perspective is. But because my whole being is doing LinkedIn Lives, the content is the conversation. And what I found over time, and I'm learning every day still, and that's what makes me want to do it, is find out what I didn't know yesterday. Plus, when you have people waiting and showing up 90% of the time every day, you have an obligation to be there, especially if, what would you do with that hour? Read a book, watch a program, take a walk. Well, how many hours do you have besides that? You can do that. And so that's prioritizing. But here's the thing I want to touch on that I think you brought to the surface is there's so many beautiful, wonderful people out there who you got to know. And you pinch yourself as like, how lucky can I be? And now I'm starting to blend. So I've got a show coming up with Kofi and Brian Segway. And they're a great match. And actually, they want to be together, you know, and like Raquel is an open invitation, and be great to have her with you or with Mike or something, because why not only give voices to people who don't have a voice, but give voices to people who have voices, right? And make them bigger. Why not let the sun shine on everyone? And that's true honesty and authenticity, is like everybody, the stage is big enough for whoever wants to be there, even if we got to lift you up and help you get there, because there's something to recognition. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was invited to my 12-year-old granddaughter's award ceremony, and she got an award for taking up bass in the orchestra. Right. And it was so great. And there was only like 25, 30 kids. Some kids were there for a perfect attendance or 4.0 or whatever. But to see the pride in someone being recognized for something they're just getting into. But you know, the funny thing is dropping a video game now for a musical instrument. In the last 2 months, she went to Grand Junction for a concert. She played at an event here in town, and now she got rewarded. Is that little step by a 12-year-old. Now all of a sudden she's a star in her eyes, and she's with other kids who now can share their diplomas or certificates. And you know, it's a great way to make a big deal out of something that's easy and inexpensive to do. And too many people, I think, look for the grand plan. It's the one foot in front of another. You know, and that's how I see it. So I think that resonates with the content if you take that approach.
Yeah, I think for me, engaging in shareable content to me is really what my journey is, because I can't look at other people's journey and say, oh, I'm going to take a post for that. Like, it's my journey, like what is happening with my day today. And because we're all human, well, some of us, I guess, some of us are bots. Um, basically, there's always going to be something in your life that people are going to relate. And by sharing your journey, people sometimes don't feel alone anymore, like you're alone in this journey, there's nobody else doing it, but there are. Because it doesn't matter where you're at today, there's going to be somebody that's the same thing they're happening in their life. Take for example death in the family. That's been taking a toll in my family right now. And yesterday, oh gosh, I don't want to cry. One of my cohort in my doctorate program, I just found out, died. And so we're trying to put together something. And this is the third person that died in our cohort. And I'm like, Jesus, I think I'm just getting way too old. And Paul, I saw your comment. You could be as old as my mom. I know I'm old, okay? Paul's like, you could be as old as my mom. I know. Oh my goodness. And Lachelle is your mom for now. You're the 16th kid. So, Donald is our grandpa, okay? So let's stick to that.
Yeah, I wish I was his dad and not
I
his
know,
granddad.
right? Oh my gosh. I was like, please stop. But that death is taking a toll on me. And one of my girlfriend just is on her last chemo from her cancer. And we're trying to create a book since last year, but I had to take a pause because she just found out she had cancer and she has two small kids. And it's just life, and you also said something about like, I'm in a hurry, right? And that's what I say. I'm doubling down. I had cancer back 2011 and I almost died. And so I'm like, oh, I'm doubling down in human being. Right. And don't worry about Chat GPT, guys. I mean, you have Siri, you have Alexa, you have Google. Like, it's not the only thing that's happening already in our lives. But I want you guys to focus on yourself, really self reflect, right? Forget about like what I need to share and engage today. Being here today in this show, if you're actually live right now or in your team replay, really think, what am I all about? What do I stand for? Because you're really getting that journey of self branding, even though you're working for somebody else. That is your self brand, like who you are as a person. Like Ulu, I respect him because we were an audio show and there were so many people in there and he stick to his integrity. And I am attracted to people who have really strong moral and ethical standards. There is no gray area. What is wrong, what is right is right. There's no gray area for me. And that is my brother's integrity, and I'm attracted to that. So when you're thinking of sharing and engaging your content, don't worry about what other people. Share your own journey, what you're doing. Share your own story because that will resonate with the right people. Don't worry about attracting other people. You only should be worried about attracting people that can help you, that can elevate you, that can inspire you, that can motivate you, right? I mean, that to me is more of the concern of what you need to share. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think everything, what I've transitioned to is I only do outbound relative to inbound. So if you comment, if you look at my profile, if you like something, if you come on as an audience, those are the people that I'm going to reach out to thank them for what they just did. Most people reach out to strangers to ask them for something to do before they get to know them, before they get to appreciate them. And it's like, hey, thanks for checking out my profile. There's something, and you can be selective, but now everything becomes relevant. And at a certain point, if you've got 20 or 30 or 40 friends like Dean or Linda, who's just an unbelievable individual, and the same people come to my show, come to this show. And that's why doors should be open. And the people who speak here are welcome to speak with me because it's them that's important, getting them more views. If you look at it, I was thinking the other day, is sometimes we're like a talent agent. It's like someone's got a show and it's like, I got a magician for you. Oh, wow. You got a show. Let me introduce you to
Yeah.
Jim. He does this. And it's like, no, I've got somebody, they're in my congregation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd love to share them with you. And just like you did earlier in the show, people know you by what you do when they see you, not what you say, not what your persona is. But
Mhm.
it's really when someone says, can you take 30 minutes and talk to me? And if you say no, everything you just did blew up on the show, right? If
Mhm.
someone comes to your show every day and says, I'd love to be able to talk to you that's when you show up. But here's the thing, why not give it all you got for as much as you got, then leave anything behind? Because you want to not feel like, if I would have just done that, or if I wouldn't have waited so long, or
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. And take that doubt out of your mind, because ultimately, I used to ask people to do things. They say, I don't have enough time. And I say, how much time don't you got? Everybody's got the same amount of time. What are you doing with it?
Yeah.
And, the other thing I learned is I don't sell, I just share. And if
Mhm.
people like it, they should be smart enough to take advantage of it, because how you build dependency or not determines future relationships,
Mhm.
right? Someone's got to do something, and they got to continue to do something for you to work with them. I look at it as a two-step rule. You take a step, I take a step. I take a step, you take a step. No one's going to take two steps,
Mhm.
right? So it's all reciprocal. And the other thing is, someone gives you a nice present, you don't have to give them a nicer present, but give them a present with the right intent, with the right feeling. Someone once taught me, when something happens that you like, don't just say thank you. I mean, when you leave a plane, instead of saying thank you, say thank you for the safe flight. Thank you for such, keep getting us down in time, or whatever, because people need to know that extra word or two. People are racing from people they should be spending more time with to spend time with people they shouldn't. So
Mhm.
anyway, that's my insight.
Being present. Yeah, I've been trying to practice that because I'm all over the place. My daughter the other day, she's like, "Mom, we have to go work out," and I skip working out on Monday, because I work from 5 in the morning till 10 at night. Like literally, I only have 2 hour lunch and break in between. I'm like, I didn't even take a nap. What is happening? I usually take a nap in the middle of the day. I'm like, I'm gonna take a nap before my other class because I do 6 hours of lecture every day, Monday to Thursday. I teach. I work full time as a professor. So I'm like, oh, that was a long day. And she's like, Mom, you gotta take a break. You gotta, get healthy and all this. I was like, yeah, no, because my knee is starting to hurt. I'm like, man, closer to 50 is not fun. Like, this is not fun getting old. She's like, no, mom, you could do this. And so that's my 15-year-old. She's my accountability coach. She literally just pushed me yesterday to work out. I'm like, I don't have time. She's like, Mom, you got an hour and a half. We just need to work out for an hour, 30 minutes, just relax. I mean, 15. Okay. I was like, man, I'm raising good children. Thank you, Lord, for giving me wisdom to do that. But yeah, I don't know Linda. Linda, by the way, DM me. I would like to get coffee chats with you. And look, she's volunteering to call her Nana. Okay. I just wanted to highlight that. She said, yes, people can feel better about themselves. The ways we move forward can make a difference for all futures. Hugs, sweetie. Prayers for you and all missing them. You can call me Nana. Growing closer with and making connections can help everyone not feel so alone in this world. That is so true. Um, Paul said, I always tell myself, though, that I have the same amount of time as anyone else. We don't know whether we will be here tomorrow. That is correct. That is correct. Um, Paul said, oh, Christian said, advice, touching thought. Victoria. I don't know Victoria. Oh, Victoria is from Christian. Take a step at a time and build yourself towards your vision. And Grandpa Donald, you're willing to help us get there, right? We are. Don, you're gonna have a lot of grandkids. I don't know what your wife's gonna say, but man, Christmas is gonna be expensive.
Well,
No.
if for anybody who's had grandkids, there's never too many.
Oh
That's
my
the
god.
best position, because you get to borrow them and give them back, and you get to sit on the sidelines and root them on and not have to take the responsibility. So there is beauty to getting older, and why not make everybody a child again, or a
Mm,
grandchild again? How many people would love to be with their grandparents one more time? and experience what they did. And if you can be that for someone, now you're bringing even more value. It's like if people would go deeper, they'd feel richer, do more with less, as opposed to less with more. And I think that's a good formula to your point of time and efficiency and energy efficiency, because to your point, it's a marathon what you do and what I do. It never ends, because I do 3 posts a day, a poll, 150 tags every post. I do a LinkedIn Live. I do a newsletter every day. And, that's all I can do. And when I can figure something more, that's going to go on top of it. So it's that drive, right, to get all you can out of as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Omar, thank you for Zoom party. I've been watching your YouTube. I'm telling you, right? And my people are like, how do you have time to like work full time, work part time, plus your podcast? I'm like, dude, I am very structured in my time. I got this. FYI, we do have a show at 10 a.m. with Paul and Susanna. So that's also a really wonderful one. Age is just a number, nothing else. I'm doing advanced swim lessons over here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, me and swimming, no. I can do spa though. Okay, Joseph, I can do spa. Joseph's getting his DBA. I love that all the people that are here, except for some people, I know what's happening in their lives, because I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I just randomly DM people. Exactly. Oh my gosh. David, if you don't mind, please, how do you manage your time well with all things happening around you? Still push. I actually block my time. So I don't know if you guys know blocking, and I've been doing it for a long time. So what I do is I'm very specific. So if you're not in my calendar, it's not happening for you. That's all. I have that boundaries. But I do leave room for incidentals, because my kids will call like, "Mom, my stomach aches," so I can't not have something. So I have to be very flexible. So I leave incidentals, but I block my time either 30 minutes or an hour at a time. And I leave room for breaks, because I will burn out if I don't. So I leave my room myself for breaks. I even leave room for taking naps, believe it or not. And I do yoga and meditation to start my day every single day. Grateful to be alive, grateful to be moving. And I'm always just grateful to meet new people. And I always do that every day. And my dog does help when I'm mad, because I'm not yelling at anybody else but my dog. And my neighbor probably thinks I'm crazy because I talk to my dogs and they don't respond. But that's literally what I do is I block my time, and I make sure that I have time for friends. I have time for myself, most importantly, because I need to be filling my cup. And I have time for work, because I need to stay creative. And I do have a team of people, because I am also a director. So I want to make sure I have time for my team building exercise. I leverage technology to the best of my ability. That I can tell you much, because I'm into technology and I love doing that. So thank you for that question. Before we end today, I wanted, because this is more of unleashing your LinkedIn influence, this question right here is gnawing on me, because a lot of people are asking me, like, what are some of effective strategies for growing your follower base on social media, here on LinkedIn, especially?
Well, to allude to what I was saying a little bit before, is pay attention. First of all, know who you're looking for, right? If you were going to hire somebody, the person's position, what they were expected to do. I mean, that would be part of the interview to qualify them. Well, if you're going to bring somebody in, first thing I say, if I won't talk to them, I won't connect with them, right? So if I wouldn't be willing to have a conversation with this connection, why would I start a self-limiting opportunity? And it's not fair to them. Second is, who do you need? How many do you need? And what are you going to do with them? I've got 37,000 connections. In essence, probably only about 300 are totally relevant for me now. And 300 is more than I can work with. Even with a show a day and 2 people a show, it's only 14 a week, right? So why would I have more than that? Plus, wherever you are is where you need to focus. And where I found connections before and how I found them is different than where I'm at now, is what I'm looking for, what I need, and how I can build on what I have. And at a certain point, you don't really focus on building your own connections. You focus on building other people's networks through your network, right? Because how I met Constance, how I met Mike, how Mike met me, and the way it happens is you have conversations. You
Mm-hmm.
open things up, you get on someone's show. I say with shows, the first one's on me, the second one's on them, right? I'll give somebody a chance, and if they come through and they follow the protocol, which is being thoughtful, being respectful, don't talk down to anybody, don't talk at anybody, talk together with everybody, then you're building a community. And the people who don't, you have to protect, if you have a happy home, you got to protect it. And if everybody depends on you for that, you got to be able to filter, you've got to be able to take control. And I think that that's so important for growing your network is the relevancy of it, the actionability of it, the freedom to know that person would like to talk to me if I need to talk to them. And until you ask somebody what they're willing to do with you, you'll know how far you can go with them. If you say, "Can I have a Zoom?" and they say no, well, then they're in a different category now,
Yeah.
right? And now you move on. And that's the key, is not getting stuck with anything or anybody for too long that has its own time or place.
Yeah. I love this. Know what you're looking for, know your needs, focus where you are, quality over quantity, and build a community. I mean, that I couldn't even sum it up more than that. Like that's literally the focus is, instead of focusing like I want to have followers. I see so many people that have like 200,000 followers and I look at when they post and they literally have 0.0000% of, like, oh, somebody has 1,000 likes. I'm like, yeah, but look how many people they literally have in their network. No one's listening. It looks like someone's listening, but no one. So there's a disconnect in there. And I think that's really for me, instead of focusing on, I want to be popular, I want to have this many people, I don't have that many connections. I delete them constantly because when I see their post, like I said, I stalk your post. When I see your post and I look at your profile and you don't align with my mission, which is to level up the world and level up by leveling up yourself, then why are you in my network? What's the point?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Because I'm building, like you said, I'm building a community with like-minded people. And so if I don't feel like I'm serving my mission, nothing personal, it's just that's where I'm serving. And so that's where I'm looking at other people. It's funny you said that, and you're like, actually I was on your show first, but I actually asked you to be on my show. And then you said, "Can you be on my show first?" I'm like, sure. Because I really thought that when I was looking at your profile and what you did, I was so excited that there's somebody out there that is doing leveling up our community. And that's why when you also have a mission, it's not anymore about you and being selfish. It is about that mission. And that mission drives me to create opportunities for people and look for people of what you're doing in your community so we can all help each other. I just want a positive community. Often we see debts, homeless, debt ceiling, all this thing. Like, I don't want to, I'm so bombarded with it. I'm like, my heart is hurting and I can't think straight for work. But when I hear stories like Donald's, like, oh, I'm elevating this person and I know this person and I'm giving work for this person, I love that. That's what I want. That's what I want to gravitate. That's the community I'm building. And so I have control over it. Why depend on somebody else? So that's how I want, right? And so this is what our giveaway and takeaway for you guys today. Any last golden nugget or information that you would like to give out there for somebody who's listening?
Yeah, I believe that today is the first day of the rest of your life. And whatever you've learned or attained can now be reinvented in the new you and the fantastic you. I mean, if people can understand they can dream again and fulfill those dreams, the world changes immediately. And I think believe in yourself and believe in the people who believe in you. And if you can do that, you're on your way, and if it takes a little longer, a little tougher, it's a better story when it's over, right? It makes it more colorful. So yeah, keep on keeping on. If I can help anybody, feel free to reach out to me. There's one last thing. It says, if you want to be really successful, help as many people become successful, and that will make you even more successful. So other people's success will build yours. And if nothing else, how many people really reach a point where they just are so proud, so happy to achieve something they never thought possible? And how much is that worth?
Priceless.
Exactly. Thank you so much for having me. It's been my honor.
I love it. And speaking of Amplify, guys, and I'm gonna ask Donald after and offline, is Nicole and I are getting a project about 50 inspirational people in your connections here on LinkedIn. And if you know somebody, please have them look at the video in my posts. It has a pink, okay, it's literally bright pink post from Nicole and mine. It's on my featured profile. We just need 3 to 5 minutes. I'm trying to get a global summit coming up in October. I want to highlight them there. I want to highlight them on my show. I also want to highlight them on my website. And I want to get to know the whole 50 people that inspires you or have inspiring stories out there. So application and video is on. Please help us elevate your community and stay positive. Level up, people, level up. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Have a wonderful day and fantastic week. Bye.